Bradley Metrock, CEO Project Voice, This Week in Voice Daily. I want to share with you something I personally find fascinating. So a lot of people don't know I'm a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with melanoma in 2010. Stage 1, it was treated and it's all good, but it was something that changed my life. And since then, I've been interested in cancer detection and the application of technology to it. That's what we're going to look at here. On Twitter today, I saw this tweet, and looks like you can see it, but I'm going to read it out loud. This is from the Journal of Endocrinology and Metabolism Research. Thyroid cancer can now be diagnosed with machine learning using a new non-invasive method to distinguish thyroid nodules from cancer by combining photoacoustic and ultrasound image technology. English, please. Basically, our technology is getting good at detecting cancer. And that's a good thing, because human beings looking at imaging to detect cancer, there can be human error. With machines looking at imaging and other data for cancer, presumably there will be less error. So this is interesting. And we're at the dawn of seeing AI and machine learning, with voice being a primary interface, being used to diagnose disease and treat human beings, save lives, extend lives, etc. One of my favorite stories involving cancer detection is that dogs can detect it. Dogs have an exponentially greater sense of smell than humans do. And so much so that they can smell cancer, and they can smell it on your breath. They can smell it in other body output. They can smell it any number of ways. And what's really interesting in this article from the scientist, which I'll link to in the description of this video, what's really interesting is that dogs can be trained to smell, like, for example, prostate cancer is a big one that dogs are used for. They can smell it. It's routine at this point. But when dogs are trained to detect cancer by smell, prostate cancer specifically, they will then be able to smell other cancers. And they have had success in detecting other cancers that have, in our mind, nothing to do with prostate cancer. And so we have learned through this process that there's something connecting different types of cancer that were seemingly unrelated to us, but the smell is something that unites these cancers. And maybe there's other things as well. We're only at the forefront of even grasping the things we don't know. How does this tie into voice? Well, I'm going to tell you. So, on this channel, we're going to talk about AI and machine learning plenty, because that's the underpinnings of voice technology. But I want to take this opportunity to talk about a really interesting company doing work in this space, Canary Speech. What Canary Speech does, so the general premise of voice technology in general is somebody says words and technology reacts. This is different. This is somebody says words and technology hears the words, become unimportant, and instead it's hearing your vocal intonation and output and drawing conclusions. Using machine learning and algorithmic type of processing and compute, what can we learn? What data is hidden underneath the surface? That's why I love the water I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but there's water coming across. What lies underneath the surface with your voice? Turns out there's a lot. Now, before we get into what I want to show you here, Carnegie Mellon University, a prestigious institution for higher education here in the United States, made news in 2020 for a voice-based COVID test. So they could listen to your voice, and with a confidence interval that wasn't enough to satisfy the FDA, but still a high confidence interval. If you have COVID, if you've recently had COVID, they know from how your voice sounds. Really interesting. That frame of mind is exactly what this startup, Canary Speech, is working on. So Canary Speech listens to your voice. They diagnose a bunch of conditions. I'm going to read them to you. Their text is kind of small on the site, so I'm going to go to this and read this to you. So you go to learn more. This is about their technology, and they've got a list here. Canary Speech is working on a range of applications in the following areas. So these are all the different types of diagnoses that they can either do using their technology now, or that they're working on, that there's reason to believe that they will be able to consistently diagnose these things from hearing your voice. Depression, stress, anxiety, tiredness, concussion, PTSD, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, migraine, some types of cancer, and others. That's an ambitious list. There's a lot to that list. I'm not going to go through all of it now, but this is one of my favorite companies that I've followed since the day I started following this stuff. And I'm fascinated by them. I think that they're onto something profound. They're not the only ones doing this type of thing, but they're the main ones I follow. And it's just important for people watching the channel, anyone interested in voice technology, AI type of topics, that to realize voice is not just about the words coming out of your mouth. And the future of AI is not just receiving directives. The future of AI is contextual. I know how your voice sounds because I've talked to you the last 1,000 days. So when you have, I know what your voice sounds like when you're in a good mood. I know what your voice sounds like in a bad mood, and just knowing you and being able to extract data from that context. And that's really what Canary Speech is getting at. Fascinating company, well worth watching, worth talking about within a broader context of the applications of machine learning and AI to modern medicine. We're all at the forefront of advancement, and it's a beautiful thing. For This Week in Voice Daily, thank you for watching. Until next time.